Alright, welcome back. So we're going to make those cutouts for the carve-outs for the earbuds, and we're going to do it in a way that creates a circular bottom. So we did a normal extrusion, we just extruded down. We'd create a square bottom and it wouldn't look very nice. So let's do like a curved bottom, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, so to get back into my sketch, I'm going to come back down here to my last sketch here and right click and go edit sketch. I do not want to create another sketch because that will create a sketch on top of a sketch, which means you can't use this stuff down here. So now that we have that, we're good to go. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw two circles, and these are for the earbuds. So for these particular earbuds, you can see how they're kind of like two circles next to each other. So I'm going to draw in those two circles, and they're 13 millimeters. I don't care where they are really. I'm going to type in 13, hit enter, because I'm going to move them around in a second. I'm going to grab another one. The only thing I don't want to do is notice that right here is the center of my construction line. I don't want to make one right there, otherwise it won't be able to move around. It'll be fixed in place. So I'm going to be out here on the side somewhere, it doesn't matter where, and 13 again, enter. Now I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to kind of pull them together a little bit, keep them on this side. This is my center line, so everything's got to stay on to the right side of that right now. And I want to be able to measure the distance from this outside point to this other outside point here, but there's no point there. So I can actually create a point. So I come over here and say create point, and then I come right here where the circle intersects my construction line. I put a point there, and I put another one on the outside here, because I want to measure that distance and set that distance to a particular distance. So now I'm going to go D for dimensioning tool. I'm going to click on the points I just made, that one and that one, and I'm going to drag up and out to the side. Notice how you can have two different measurements. This one is how far apart they are. This one, if I go down to the side here, is how much higher one is from the other. They're different measurements. The one we want is the one with how far apart they are. So you should have a line up here somewhere. I'm going to click that, set that, and that should be set to 21 millimeters. That'll fit our earbuds nicely. And on mine, notice it moved this circle over. It could have moved that circle over. It's just to set the distance. Fusion makes choices about how it wants to move stuff based on your constraints. All right, next we need to do is flatten these two bumps out, because right now we have two bumps here. So we're just going to grab a line. We're going to start up here somewhere near the top here, and we're going to keep going till we find this symbol. This symbol with a circle on a line on it is the tangent symbol. And what that means is that line comes in perfectly smoothly. I'm going to do that again over here. I'm just going to take another line and draw it to this circle. And again, I'm looking for that. Oh, there it is right there, the tangent symbol. Bam. You can see now I have those two tangent symbols there. Now let me show you what a line that isn't tangent looks like. So if I zoom in on this side of the circle, you can see how this line comes in, and there's this like little kink here. It doesn't come in smoothly. Whereas on this side, the line comes in and touches the circle perfectly smoothly here. Well, I want that same thing on this side. So what I'm going to do is grab my tangent tool, which is this up here in the red. And then I'm going to click on the circle, and then I'm going to click on the line second, or it doesn't matter which order you do them actually. Now notice how it's moved the line so that it comes in perfectly smooth, and it's placed this tangent symbol here saying that there's a tangent constraint. I'm going to do the same thing up here on this line, and this line's not as bad. I'm going to click on the line this time first, and then the circle afterwards, and now it's perfectly lined up, although it was pretty close to start with. All right, so now I've got that little tube for the earbuds to go in. I need to draw next a place for this arm down here to fall in place. To do that, I'm going to create a rectangle. Now, one of the problems with creating rectangles is they're always created vertically or horizontally, not at an angle. To get an angled one, what you're going to do is choose a 3-point rectangle, just like that. And then we're going to draw out here somewhere. It doesn't really matter where. Again, we're going to size it later. We're going to draw 3 points. So I'm going to come over here, like here-ish, go over to like there-ish, and then we'll work from that. Now we want this line out here. I'm going to hit escape to leave the rectangle tool. We want this line on the outside to be perpendicular, 90 degrees to the center line. So to do that, I'm going to grab my constraint here called perpendicular constraint. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click on this line here, and then I'm going to click on the construction line. Those two lines, now they're perpendicular. And everything else should be good. So there's my rectangle. And it was already pretty perpendicular. I think now it moved a little bit, but I couldn't tell that much. So now I need to create the dimensions for it. The first one is this far side here. So I'm going to hit D for the dimensioning tool. Click on this line on the outside of the rectangle, and then drag down, or just go down a little bit, click again, and this one should be set to 22 millimeters. Awesome, that one's in. And then the whole width of it, so this side down here, maybe I put it on this side. This here, I'm going to click on that line with the dimensioning tool on, and notice I can get this. I can get two different dimensions. I don't want this one, that's how high it is. I want how long it is, and it should be set to 5 millimeters. Enter. Awesome. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm actually going to position this by measuring it from this far end, the whole earbud thing from this point way over here. And again, I have the dimensioning tool on still. I can see that by the little symbol by my mouse. And I'm going to go from this dot way over here all the way to this outside edge line, click on it, and then come up here to the top somewhere and drop that measurement up there, and that should be 23. Enter. Now it's measured that way. I still need to adjust it from the top here. So this can still, if I hit escape real quick, I can still move this up and down, and that's problematic. It needs to be in the right place. So to get this measured properly, I'm going to do a D for dimensioning. I'm going to say from this top side of this one to the top side of this little arm, I'm going to come out here, way down here in the white, and click. And I'm going to say that should be only 2.5 millimeters. Enter. Now I've got, you can see that shape taking shape now. So I've got the two circles with the lines connecting them. I've got the rectangle for this. I didn't round the rectangle for the end of this. It's not necessary, but you could add it, I guess, if you wanted to. And I've got everything positioned pretty well. The one thing I don't have is space for the wire to come out. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to do another 3-point rectangle. I'm going to click my rectangle tool, click on 3-point rectangle, and then I'm going to click here, here. Again, doesn't matter where you click really. And then I'm going to come past down here somewhere. And actually, I'm going to do it on this. Yeah, I'm going to go past here. Let's go well past, actually. I'm going to come here. Not into this edge out here. I just want to come, a little bit past the center there. Okay, perfect. Now I need to position this and dimension it. So to position it, I want this line. Let me hit escape real quick. I want this line of the small rectangle to be right in the middle of this line of the bigger rectangle. So I'm going to use the midpoint tool. What the midpoint tool does is it lines up the middle of two lines. So I'm going to come over here and click on the little one, and then come over here and click on the big one. And that will center them on each other perfectly. So now it's perfectly centered. For the dimensions of this one, let's set this small dimension here to be 3.5. And then let's, nope, that's good. We can do the rest, we can leave. All right. Now what we can do is we can move stuff around. So escape. Notice how everything is blue? That means everything can still have some aspect of it can still move around. So if I take this orange line and I move it, I can actually move where everything is being set to. And I'm like, oh, look at that. I want to kind of get it centered on the opening. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and dimension some things in. I can actually grab this blue circle and I can move it around as well. Like I can do a lot of different stuff. Oh, that's pretty tricky to mess with. I would move the orange line instead. That seemed easier. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that positioning. I noticed this part is where the wire comes out, so I want to make sure it goes over the edge so the wire can come out. But then everything else should be kind of centered on this half of it. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to dimension this center point of this circle to this line up here. Oh, I didn't grab it. Boom. There. And I'm not going to change this number. I'm just going to hit enter right away because it's right where I want it to be. Use whatever number worked for you on yours. And then the next thing I'm going to do is set up what would be another good one to use? Let's do this. Let's go to the bottom corner down here and dimension this to the bottom edge here. And again, I'm going to drag this out and place. I'm going to put it over here in the white so we can see it. I'm not going to change that number. I'm just going to hit enter. It's in a really good spot. And notice what that does. It turns all those blue lines black, which means now I can't move them. Whoops, escape. I escaped out of the dimension tool. Now when I try to move them, I can't. And what that means is that they're just fully fixed in place because I can't make them slide if this is that number and this is that number. And those are the two things that fixed it in place. Down here, this blue one can still slide in or out because it's not fixed in place yet. So you can still move this one down. To fix this one in place, maybe I would move it to right here. I hit D for dimensioning and I would say, hey, whoops, escape. I already had the one selected. D for dimensioning. And then I would go right here and say enter on that. And now it locked that one in place because it's set the distance of that one. So having a sketch that's fully constrained, which means fully locked down, everything is black, means that when you make a change later on, Fusion won't be able to go back and accidentally move your sketch around. So it causes fewer problems. Although many times having blue sketches it can still move, doesn't really cause much of a problem. All right, that's it for this video. Great job hanging in there. In the next video, what we're going to do is take all of this work we did and we're going to mirror it to the other side. And then I'm going to show you how to just carve out all of these openings. Awesome job. Hang in there.